They are literally like on cis women and suspecting them of being trans because they're brolic is insane. We can't punish a woman for naturally having something that other women don't have, Shields said. That's like saying, oh, she's too strong to be at this weight. She's knocking everybody out. We're going to put her in the men's division. It has to be some facts that make sense. All right.
Updates from Paris 2024 site this morning has been.
The entire purpose of sports is that it's unfair, bro. Shut the f up. What are we doing? Like, the entire purpose of sports is unfair. People have natural advantages, okay? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Not only do people have natural advantages, but people also have, like, significant advantages in terms of, like, like, their development, right? Their material conditions. That's why stories like the South Sudanese team coming together from a country that doesn't have one singular indoor basketball court is a phenomenal story. That's what makes this so amazing, okay? Nutrition differences, like people coming in from other countries, like third world countries that like do not have the same access to nutrition, access to exercise science, access to the latest and greatest in development, outcompeting people that do have access to that. It's about overcoming great odds. That's what's beautiful about sports. It is never supposed to be this blanket, equity field. It's like one of the only places where like there is some semblance of meritocracy. And these guys are literally breaking their brains over this concept and being like, I'm imagining that some people have like, this advantage, this like magical advantage. It's so stupid. And I've talked about this quite a bit. You could say horrible take all you want, but it's the truth. I don't know what you're talking about. But like, I never hear anybody chirping about Messi getting hormone therapy early on. I believe it was Barcelona, right? In their scouting program that took a massive bet with Messi. He had a genetic condition. Which he had to get growth hormone for early on in his life. Okay. Ain't nobody talks about that. Everybody talks about how brilliant and how incredible Messi is. Yeah, he had to get human growth hormone. FC Barcelona made the best deal in the history of football, signing a young Lionel Messi from Argentina at the age of 13. The contract signed on a napkin was predicated on Football Club Barcelona paying for Messi's medical treatment. Messi was diagnosed with a growth hormone disorder, or GHD. It is often called idiopathic short stature, but there are problems that go beyond being shorter than average. The treatments were expensive, $900 monthly expense that his modest family could not afford. River Plate and Newell's Old Boys, storied Argentinian clubs, passed on that expense despite the promise of a very young Messi. The treatments were injections of human growth hormone. For someone with GHD, this is a life changer, allowing them to not only develop greater height, but also help deal with a variety of internal issues such as pituitary function, skin and teeth problems, poor vision, lower immunity. The use of HGH is banned in almost all sports, amateur and professional, but there are two things that need to be made clearer. First, Messi's use was likely discontinued after he reached adulthood. Football Club Barcelona and Messi's representatives did not respond to my request for comment on the issue and have made no public comments in years regarding Messi's medical treatments. While GHD continues, the importance of it to development and function is reduced. If it did continue, a player with a diagnosed medical condition, especially one that is long-standing and well-documented like Messi's, could apply for a therapeutic use exemption. Okay? But ain't nobody's going to ever bring that up, and they shouldn't bring that up. Okay? They should not bring that up because that would be ridiculous. So not only are there examples that we talk about with respect to natural genetic advantages that certain people have over others, like Michael Phelps' incredibly long wingspan that is like insane, right? That allows him to outcompete everybody else that nobody chirps about, or Wemby's height, or LeBron James being 6'9", 250 pounds and having incredible footwork. These are all genetic advantages, but beyond that, there's so much hard work that goes into it. That is what makes sports great. Okay? If people like myself and all these other couch potatoes were out there trying to compete, it would not be fun. It would not be entertaining. The entire field of sports is supposed to be this like multitude of factors coming together. Okay? Social conditioning, material conditions, and also genetic advantages that allow people to thrive in this environment, overcoming great odds. These people that are complaining about a cis woman are saying, I just don't like the way she looks. I don't believe that she is not a trans woman, and I think that she shouldn't be allowed. Okay? It's crazy. If you think unfairness is a part of sports, do you think men and women should compete in the same category? I don't personally care that there are gender differences in, or like there's a male and female category in sports. But I also don't have an issue with trans men and trans women competing either. Okay. But we're not even talking about trans men and trans women at this point. We're talking about cis women being suspected of being trans. Your community makes me not want to accept trans people. And I've been an ally. You take it way too far. You're no different than the MAGA people. Forcing trans women to compete against cis women is sexiest towards women. You no different than the MAGAs. What? Brother, ain't nobody is forcing you to be a certain way. Okay. Have some backbone. Like, what are you? Are you a child? Do you have a child brain? Like, what's happening? Oh, man. I heard you make an argument about like people that we actually place the emphasis on in terms of like using hormones and people that we don't care when they use hormones. And that actually made me transphobic. What do you mean forcing you to be transphobic? It seems like you just got that dog in you regardless. And you don't want to come to terms with that. So you just want to like point the finger of blame somewhere else. He figured you out. Yeah, he did. He sure did. Anyway.
Look ahead to
the testosterone is not a perfect test. Many women can have testosterone which is in what would be called male levels, and still be women and still compete as women. So this panacea, this idea that suddenly you do one test for testosterone and that sorts everything out, not the case, I'm afraid. But each sport needs to deal with its issues. They know their sports and their disciplines the best, and you need to target and tailor, I should say, the testing and so on with that. But I think we're all agreed, I hope we're all agreed, that we're not calling for people to go back to the bad old days of sex testing. I think...
If the Democrats drop the ball on this, they are the dumbest on the planet. They should be hammering this talking point over and over again about how unimaginably weird Republicans are being about this, including with American athletes that are gold medal winners like Katie Ledecky, American athletes at that rugby star that they're just like they're just so unhinged, and they're like suspecting that there's a trans person in every goddamn corner because they've brain broken themselves into thinking that we have to have inspection day, not realizing that that actually ends up overwhelmingly harming cis girls. Okay. Because there are significantly more cis girls than there are trans girls, okay? And that's why when they do peace inspection day in the form of legislation, as Republicans have passed in places like Ohio, that's just going to be weird, creepy, being like, I suspect your daughter of being a trans woman, so that's right, come on, drop your trowels, I got to check your... That's what the Republicans want. That's the future that they're advocating for, and you dumb are letting that happen, okay? Creepy ass, bro. I swear to God.
Which was a terrible thing to do, and I'm sure we all agree that that is not the way forward in this.
Democrats better not say nothing, bro. 85% of USA's brain rotted when it comes to the subject. Fuck no. That's so stupid, dude. That is not only cowardly, but unimaginably stupid. This is what we mean when we say people are weird, okay? And no, 85% of the country is not like this. 85% of Twitter is like this. So you are looking at Twitter and you think that that is an accurate snapshot of how the rest of the country thinks. 20% in Twitter's peak, 20% of the American public was using this platform. Okay? That's a lot of people, but that was at its peak. Now it's all bots, porn accounts, and murder porn. Okay? And right-wing Nazis like you've never seen. Clarissa Shields, GOAT woman boxer right now, gave a take for the New York Times defending her. Clarissa Shields, a professional boxer who in 2012 became the first American woman to win an Olympic gold medal, said in an interview that she did not remember undergoing testosterone testing when she competed as an amateur. She said women with naturally high testosterone levels should not be punished and that there should be transparent testing protocols. Twitter said it, so it's biased. Keck W. I mean, yeah, it is. Something that is like blowing up on Twitter does not mean that it is the actual narrative that a lot of people believe. And it doesn't matter what the narrative is on Twitter regardless. You should still advocate for the truth. What are we talking about? The idea that we just have to lean in to these transphobic weirdos who have lost their minds on transphobia so much that they are literally like on cis women and suspecting them of being trans because they're brolic is insane. We can't punish a woman for naturally having something that other women don't have, Shields said. That's like saying, oh, she's too strong to be at this weight. She's knocking everybody out. We're going to put her in the men's division. It has to be some facts that make sense.
Situation.
And your answer, and one of the most vocal, critic.
This involves real people, and we're talking about real people's lives here. They have competed and they continue to compete in the women's competition. They have lost. And
wait, what? She posted this? Just did an interview with Fox News about this. I'm taking a stand. Women should fight against women. Men fight against men. And transgenders fight against transgenders. This is ridiculous. And I'm heartbroken for the women boxers at the Olympics. Wait, what? Is this the same person? Why the f did she give the New York Times an entirely different quote? What changed since this morning? Yeah, Mike Tirico just addresses on the broadcast right now, saying that it's because IOC took over from IBA. IBA is corrupt and the decision was wrong. Balance the unemotional reporting, basically telling people to move the f on. Yeah.
And they have won against other women throughout over the years. And by the way, this isn't, should make this absolutely clear for everyone, this is not a transgender issue. I know you know that, but I think there has been some misreporting on this, and I think it's very, very important to say that this is not a transgender issue. These women have been competing in competitions for many years, not just the spectacle. We need to have a new boxing federation, and sadly, if we don't have one, we won't have boxing in Los Angeles. We really want it for all sorts of reasons, and not just the spectacle, but because it's actually does a great deal of social good. So we are really hoping that there will be a federation that can deal with these issues. As you know, the current eligibility is based on Tokyo, which is only 3 years ago.
The craziest part about it is you see the photo and they're like, surely that's a dude. And that's so funny because what the f you look like, dumb? Well, what do you look like? Okay? It's not. You're just being a rude piece of like, you're just being a rude piece of That's it. That's all this is. It's just you vice signaling. You're like, oh, well, I don't find her to be, so she's not a woman? That's what it is?
Well, this was a moment of history. It happened earlier today in France, and a major controversy, too, has now erupted out of Paris. An Algerian boxer shown in the red uniform who failed a gender eligibility test last year has now won an opening fight after only 46 seconds. Her opponent breaking down in tears, calling it, quote, unjust. Greg Palcott picks it up from London with more on what happened in the ring. Greg.
Hey, Bill. Yeah, big controversy indeed at the Olympics. A boxer deemed a biological male beating an Italian female opponent with a...
That's awesome. That's not what this is at all. Every part of this is wrong. Literally every part of this is wrong. And this is being covered as like truthful, accurate news. This isn't just like Jesse Waters. This is the objective reporting arm of Fox News. You need to understand this. Like, this is the morning show. Okay, in the morning show, if you know anything about Fox News, the morning part of the show is supposed to be more objective, like real news coverage. Okay, this speaks truth, and the reason this is happening, the damage and wokeness that libs of TikTok have done on this app cannot be overstated. 100%. This is why I really don't think both sides are the same, man. This is just awful. They just completely lie about now with zero care for reality. I never said both sides are the same. Okay. But if the Democratic Party is fearful of the transphobic sentiment that they're hearing from broader subsects of society and don't actually actively fight back against this, then Democratic Party politicians are the same as the Republican Party politicians. Because at the end, the ultimate changes in society are still going to be led by the Republican Party. Okay, Icy Vert made it on the broadcast back-to-back days. Damn, yeah. Oh, like this is a big deal. The reason why I'm talking about this is not because like, oh, here Hasan goes again, defending trans people. Who gives it? Like, first of all, I do give it, okay? It's still a form of bigotry that I think is completely unacceptable. That's number one. Number two is that this goes even beyond transphobia in this situation because it is at the heart of my major problem with the age of disinformation online, okay? This is not even a trans person, but people are just running with this narrative that she is a trans person, that she is a biological male, born a biological male, which is like inherently transphobic to begin with, okay? But it's like, you don't understand. I'm not only just defending trans women in this situation, I'm defending cis women too. That is a cis woman that they're just calling a man. How do we get here?
Italian crying out, I couldn't take it anymore, despite failing that gender test by the...
Like, look. Next time, we should just start allowing these boxers to bring brass knuckles because they identify as brass knuckle having females. It's like, bro, that's a woman, dog. That's a woman. You think she's not, but that is a woman. Not a trans woman, a cis woman, okay? That is a cis woman, okay? She got a uterus. That's a cis woman. Do you feel me? Do you understand me on this? You are suspecting her of not being that, and you're just running along with that, and you're hitting this with like the classic transphobia angle, which is like, I personally think I identify as an attack helicopter. Like, that's what you're doing here.
International Boxing Association and being banned from an international tournament last year.
What the fuck?
Algerian 25-year-old.
Bro, they hit a 9/11 image, dude. That's so funny. That's hilarious. They accidentally slid the 9/11 image in there.
Khalif was okayed by Olympic authorities to compete. And apparently today it was a very one-sided fight with Italian Angela Carini, also 25. After just 46 seconds and several sharp punches to the head, including the nose by Khalif, Carini abandoned the fight, threw her helmet to the floor, stormed off the boxing ring, and in fact went on to say that she had never felt such strong blows in a contest before. Now, Algerian Khalif has competed for several years in other international tournaments, including the Olympics, but was banned last year due to, according to officials, elevated levels of testosterone. Algerian sports officials have called the charges against Khalif baseless, but others have raised concerns.
This isn't even that person. What is happening? This isn't even Khalif. They're just like showing a dude. This reporting does not even like. This reporting is basically just straight up like what I suspect from like a psychotic, transphobic, like right-wing YouTube page. Okay? Like, that's crazy. Like, they don't even give a
concerns about the health of opposing athletes when, according to one, a man fights a woman. And Khalif is not the only one getting attention. Taiwan boxer Lin Yu Ting is competing in the Olympics, including a fight tomorrow, and has also been deemed a biological male, according to the International Boxing Association. In a statement.
Yeah, there's a reason why it's not. This is not IBA standards, okay? Like, and it's not because of woke. It's not because of woke gender. Like, the IOC is not using IBA standards, okay? What is happening?
And the IBA said in part, this test conclusively indicated that both athletes did not meet necessary eligibility criteria and were found to have competitive advantages over other female competitors. One more quote from the defeated Italian. Boxing is a sport that teaches you to have respect for the opponent. It cannot and must not become an abuse. Back to you, Bill.
What a story. I think it's quite a moment in this whole campaign, whether it's here or overseas. Greg, thank you for that in London. We got more on this now, Dana.
Want to bring in Clarissa Shields. She's a professional boxer and a two-time Olympic gold medalist. It's great to have you. And her necklace there says, "Quote was the greatest woman of all time." It is really good to have you here. You've competed in 2 Olympics. This, you told us in the break, was not an issue when you were in the Olympics. And there's the medals. What do you think about all of this?
Well, my first Olympics, I was 17 years old, so I hadn't even fully developed as a woman, so I couldn't imagine getting inside the ring with the biological man. I mean, even though I spar against the men, but fighting for the Olympics is way bigger than that. It's so much more on the line. So to have to go in there with the opposite gender when, look, women fight against women, men fight against men. So I don't even see how the Olympics done something like this.
You know, I watched this video earlier today, Clarissa. Have you seen it, for the Italian boxer saying, "I'm out"? Have you seen the video yet?
I've seen it.
I mean, she really looked scared to me. What did you think?
You know, I grew up in a gym sparring against a lot of guys and stuff, but every fighter, woman fighter, does not do that. So, so the power to her did seem like it was much bigger and much stronger, and it did scare her, you know. And I don't know how old she is, but it's still like when you're born a man, you're already born with the bigger muscles and a bigger neck, and you've grown up to be a man. You know, you didn't change genders when you was a kid, so it's, to me, it's just unfair, and I just can't believe that it's being done, and I just couldn't.
That's crazy that she literally gave the exact opposite quote to the New York Times. Like, none of what she is saying happened. None of what she is saying happened in this situation. They're just making all this up. Will there be any corrections on this? Probably not. There's no other world where like the natural genetic advantages that one person has over the other is considered to be inappropriate. That's what makes sports great, okay? Look at the ticker. No indication that Khalif or Lynn identify as transgender or intersex.
Imagine it happening to me.
There's not that many women who are willing to stand up and say this is wrong.
One of the craziest parts about this is like being a black woman who's a dominant athlete, not realizing that like black women who are dominant athletes are the first to be transvestigated, like historically, including Serena Williams, but like not limited to just Serena Williams either. So like they will call you a man soon too when your highlight reel comes out, okay? And is like recirculating. This is what a lot of women who are engaging in this kind of transphobia don't understand. They don't get it. People don't understand it. They're doing it to Simone Biles right now. They're doing it to Katie Ledecky. Iman Khalif, Duty Chan, Caster Semenya, Anit Nageza. Anyone noticing a common thread among female athletes who have been falsely subjected to transphobic attacks and allegations? Yeah, the Katie Ledecky one is the unique one because she's a white blonde woman. But yeah, usually it's just women of color that get transvestigated aggressively. I mean, this is such a bad take. What is a bad take? It's not a bad take at all. This is very common. People do this to female athletes of color so much, okay? They do this to female athletes of color non-stop. I don't know what you already said, but Karina shouted, it's not fair, it's not fair. Then when all the mess started, her coach said that she had a problem with her teeth. Many people in Italy thought she wanted a spot in the Maloney government, but who knows? Yeah, it's just misogyny. It's lame as hell.
And, you know, I admire you for doing so. Do you think the Olympics will have a change of heart here? I mean, if you see her, that young woman from Italy, she worked just as hard as anybody else to get to the Olympics, and her dream was dashed in 46 seconds because of him.
It is very hard to qualify for the Olympics. You have to go through
Yo, this is gross, man. You're a freak. You're a disgusting freak piece of shit.
So many different.
You're like deliberately misgendering. Crowder closed. The male stole Angela Carini's Olympic dream and her promise to her late father. I mean, I don't want to watch this washed up loser, dude. Bro, she tapped out in 45 seconds and we're still having this conversation. Once again, I want to point out that they are doing this to everybody. They're doing this to Katie Ledecky. They're doing this to they're doing this transvestigation to the American rugby player. Jake Paul, this is sickening. This is a travesty. Doesn't matter what you believe. This is wrong and dangerous. Yeah, you're right, man. 96,000 likes. This is her a few hours ago. She seems to have done a lot of talking. Yeah, Algerian boxer was born a woman. Iman is a woman. She has hyperandrogenism, a condition characterized by abnormally high androgen levels in the blood, leading to elevated testosterone in the presence of XY chromosomes. This is a natural disorder. I don't even know that we know that, by the way. Like, we don't even know if that's the case. That's what the suspicion is. Did you see the whole fight? I don't mean to be disrespectful to the other Italian lady, but she's just genuinely ass at boxing. She dropped her guard and took on punches that I don't think amateur boxers would even take. Here, I'll watch the 45. Well, Eurosport's unavailable in my region. Imagine being from a rural region of Algeria, okay? And like working your whole goddamn life, getting 9 knockouts. Like you've lost 9 fights. I think that not all 9 of them were KOs. You finally get to this situation where you're like dominant, competing at the global stage, and you beat your opponent in 45 seconds because she can't keep her hands up, breaks her nose, and quits 45 seconds in. And then the entire world's like, sorry, you're too brolic. So I don't think you're a woman. I'm going to imagine that you have and literally everyone's like, hey, here's our united statement, joint Paris 2024 boxing unit IOC statement. This is a woman. This is a cis woman. Like, what the f are you talking about? This is a cis woman. While the statement is welcome, it's important to stand in solidarity with Iman, who has been subjected to the worst kinds of attacks. Okay, that's not bad. Never mind. I thought that the response is still, he's a man. This is mental illness, dude. This is just mental illness. There's nothing else here. 13.5 KO percentage. She's had 5 KOs, and she's lost 9 fights. Oh, Elon deleted all his tweets about Iman. Yeah, that piece of cowardly piece of he's probably worried he's going to get sued for defamation, except his entire platform is still running with this narrative, regardless of the fact that, you know, he deleted his own personal tweets. Freak, bitch ass. Ignore the tweet, but here's the full fight. Yeah, Riley Gaines. Riley Gaines is another perfect representation of this. Riley Gaines herself is brolic. The very same transphobic people think she's a man. And her entire career is constantly pointing at cis women and being like, they're probably men. They're probably trans. It's like, bro, look at your own damn self. You got brolic ass shoulders. Look at your goddamn clavicles, dumb. What are you doing running around calling cis women trans for being brolic? You idiot. J.K. Rowling posted this too. I woke up to this like unimaginable cruelty on the timeline. That's so annoying, dude.